Welcome, everyone. Tonight we're going to be doing an info session on 3 different and very different programs, but also very related programs. To start off the evening, just going over an agenda of what we'll be talking about and also some introductions. So the programs we're going to be talking about tonight are in the Lab and Allied Health portfolio, which is under the School of Health Sciences, and I am the Acting Associate Dean for this program area. And within this program area, there are 7 different programs. Some of the programs that we won't be speaking about tonight, but just for your information, prosthetics and orthotics, biotechnology, clinical genetics, medical laboratories. And the program areas we'll be talking about tonight are dealing primarily with prevention and ensuring that individuals stay safe. So the first program we'll be talking about tonight is Occupational Health and Safety. And occupational health and safety is ensuring that people are safe in their work environment. And that work environment can be a variety of different areas, such as transportation, the oil and gas industry, manufacturing industry, and another quite big industry in British Columbia is the food industry, which brings us to the next program area we'll be talking about is food technology. Food technology is about ensuring that food is produced in a safe and high quality manner. So consistently from batch to batch, the product remains consistent so that you're not getting customer complaints about quality, and then also ensuring that the public remains safe from consuming these products. So individuals from the food technology program may end up in a food company. Then the food companies also have a safety plan and individuals looking after the safety, or they may get inspected by government individuals, which relates to our third program, which is environmental health. And this program trains environmental health officers, and they're going into areas and protecting the public. So anywhere the public may end up, which is potentially restaurants, swimming pools, beauty salons, they're inspected by the public health inspectors, and so we're training those individuals. So we'll have some speakers from the various different programs. So the first program area we'll talk about is occupational health and safety, and we'll have the program head, Rob Miller, come up and speak about that. We'll also have a graduate of the program who will come speak. Following that, we'll move into food technology, where Rebecca Robertson is the program head of that area. And then we'll follow that with a graduate of the program. And our third program area is environmental health technology, and the program head Martin will speak, and then we also have a student who will be speaking about the outcomes of that program. Some of you may have questions about how to register for these programs, so we'll have a speaker, Suki, from Program Advising, who will be able to answer potential questions. But we will keep all the questions that you may have over into the other room. So after the speakers are done, we're going to move over into Town Square A, which is just about 10 meters from here. And that way you can ask whichever area your graduates. There'll also be some students from the different programs there. And so if you have any questions directly related to a program, we'd encourage you to ask those questions there, as we are talking about 3 different program areas tonight. So why come to BCIT? BCIT is a school that trains you to be job ready. And just a few statistics for you from graduates from 2015 from each of the program areas. Starting with environmental health, 94% of grads are employed in directly relevant jobs. 100% of food technology students are satisfied with their education. And in occupational health and safety, within 2 months, 68% of graduates are employed in a job related to their program, many of which are actually employed at the time of graduation. So BCIT, another positive attribute of this education here is we have small class sizes. In these program areas we're going to be talking about, the class sizes range from 13 to 26. So you'll find yourself in quite a small cohort, and you'll get to know your instructors as well as your peers quite closely. It's a quite supportive learning environment, so as I mentioned, you'll get to know your peers quite well, and you'll also get to know your instructors. And if you saw the video that we just showed before the info session, there's lots of supports here at BCIT to help you through your education. The faculty in these programs are all industry relevant, so a lot of them are hired out of industry jobs, and so what they'll be teaching you is directly related to the jobs that you'll be taking on after you graduate. And these programs also involved a lot of hands-on skills, so a lot of the programs have roughly about 50% labs, so you'll be in a combination of both lectures and labs, so you'll be trained on tasks that you'll be performing in industry. So is this allied health program for you? You'll have to be we encourage you to be a curious and fascinated by science. These programs do require you to take some chemistry and other science programs. You should be process-oriented and accurate, self-sufficient, able to work independently as well as part of a team, and work under pressure. You have to have keen observation skills as well as communication and interprofessional skills. What does it take to be successful? A lot of these programs are going to require you to communicate with individuals, whether it's in the work environment or if you're visiting different facilities. So you should be proficient in English, in reading, writing, and listening skills. You should have excellent physical and emotional health. These programs are quite heavy, course load wise. You'll be in class often from 8:30 to 4:30, 5 days a week. There's a small break on Wednesday afternoons where we encourage you to take part in different activities here at BCIT, whether it's the gym or intramurals. But you are in class for about 7 to 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. You should have strong decision-making and problem-solving skills. You should be able to take initiative, work in teams as well as independently. A lot of these programs require you to work with others. And you should have strong manual dexterity and hand-eye coordination as you'll be required to perform various tasks when you're out in the jobs. So with that said, we're going to pass the floor over to our first program area, which is Occupational Health and Safety. And the program head for this area is Rob Miller.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BCIT. I am happy to be here to talk about occupational health and safety today. Program overview. This two-year program, this two-year diploma program, is probably one of the most comprehensive education programs in Canada, one of the few diploma programs offered in Canada. And we instruct you how to interpret and administer legislative requirements for all areas of industry. We train you so that you can actually work in any industry sector. You'll learn about a variety of hazards and various things in each workplace. Our grads learn how to do health and safety, but also learn about the business side of OH&S. And a combination of health and safety, business, makes it really a people-oriented profession. And so it's really aimed at people who like working in teams, like working with people, and as Aaron has said, good interpersonal skills. How do I get into the program? This is what they call a competitive entry. In other words, we collect all the applications between November 1st and April 1st. In that period, we collect the applications, and then a committee decides on selection of 24 people that come into the program. There's a two-step process to it. One is the academics, and as most BCIT programs, this particular one requires the math, physics, chemistry entrance, and a work experience. We're looking for people that have a minimum of 5 years of work experience so that you have a good idea of how people work and the knowledge of different industries. Employment opportunities. As I mentioned, we are training you to prepare to go into any industry sector. What you see on the screen here is a very typical list of different occupation titles. coordinator, environmental specialist, officer, advisor, manager. It's very easy to Google these titles and really search to see where some of those jobs are. Our program is oriented to train you in any industry sector. So, for example, even here at BCIT, we have an occupational health and safety department that our grads work at. So in the education sector, healthcare, trades, heavy and light manufacturing, the utilities, cities, municipalities, we prepare you to work in any of these areas. Just before we get to our guest speaker, I'm also a grad from this program. I graduated from this program quite a long time ago, but when I finished, I was able to get a job within about a month of graduating. My career path landed me as a safety officer with Vancouver School Board for a period of time, and then into environmental management, and eventually here teaching at BCIT. So I've done the full circle of being a student right to instructor. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of my grads, actually, that was in one of my programs, and she's graduated, and her name is Binny, and she's going to talk to you about her career path.
Thank you, Rob. Hello, everyone. My name is Binny, and I'm OH&S program graduate passed in 2015. And first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I am a landed immigrant. I immigrated to Canada in 2009, as you can guess from my accent. So my educational background back home was that I had done my architecture and interior designing studies, and I had practiced it for a few years. Then I switched to HR and was working as an office manager in a software company in India. And then I came to Canada. I worked in Walmart and Sears as a customer service representative and worked as cashier. Why did I choose the OH&S line was that in Walmart I got a little injured, and that's when I came to know what is WorkSafe PC and how the system works. That's what attracted me, like the care, the emphasis on safety, the initiative taken by the employers to take care of health and safety of the workers. I was so fascinated by this idea that I wanted to learn more about it. So here I came to BCIT to attend info sessions, to talk to the consultants, and everyone then guided me what my first steps were. So I did the technology entry first, and then got my admission into the OH&S program. From the journey of the OH&S program was not easy. I was working, I was a mom, and I was a new immigrant. English was my second language, and so a lot of difficulties, but if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. So it's just determination and commitment that will matter. So my success in the diploma program was that, first of all, the planner that BCIT gives you. It was such a huge help to me. I would plan everything and write down what upcoming assignments were. I would set reminders on my phone. And then networking. So even if you have not got into the program yet, there is time. So what you can do is you can start into attending networking associations like CSSC, Canadian Safety Engineers Association. So they can help you. Then interacting with the co-students and the faculty. It can overcome a lot of fears. When you are in the program, there are a lot of fears that you might have, and you would want to talk to someone. Feel free and talk to someone to get some output out of it. And the main thing is that stay on top of the homework. That's what led me to success in the program. After that, after completing my program in May 2015, I wanted to take at least 6 months break before I started to look for a job. However, the employers won't let me settle down. So they knocked at my door, offered me a job, which I couldn't refuse. And I am now working at BC Construction Safety Alliance as a core program coordinator and earning good. So that's what will pay. The hard work will pay, my friends. So then my advice to you to succeed in the diploma is do not miss any class. Stay on top of your homework. Do some networking like CSSE and other associations are there. And then use the BCIT resources and communicate. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Robertson, and I'm the program head for food technology. And I was told I had to stay in front of this microphone, and I like to wander and talk with my hands, so I hope this goes well. So food technology trains students to work with food manufacturers to produce safe, high-quality food. And food manufacturers being anyone that's putting food into a package and adding shelf life to it. So basically everything you find in a grocery store has been produced by a food manufacturer. And that's in contrast to restaurants or food service where food is produced and eaten right away. So we train our students to work in these plants, and there are large and small plants. So we can be working for quite large companies with a very big lab, and our students can go into that lab and become part of that team. Or we can be working for a smaller plant that might only be 5 to 10 people working there, and our students go in and they are actually in charge of the food safety and quality program. So there's very different experiences that you can have once you graduate. So just a program overview. So like many programs at BCIT, it's a 2-year full-time diploma program. And this program you can go into right out of high school. So that's totally possible, whereas the other 2 programs here, you need more experience than that. And so we have our on-campus lectures and labs like other programs. And we have an industry-sponsored project at the end of our 2 years. So the students can work with an industry, a food manufacturer that's got some problem they need solving. So they give our students a project. So that could be things like validating shelf life, doing sensory evaluation of a new product line, maybe trying out a new and innovative process. They might not want to have some more information about it, so the student can help with that process. Working with the food safety and quality program, and just the food manufacturers need these big food safety programs and quality programs for that matter. Our students are trained to both develop those programs and to implement them. So that's all quite exciting. And so how do I get in? And so like we've already mentioned, English is needed and our sciences are needed. So English, some post-secondary humanities, social sciences from a recognized institution. We need chemistry and math. And let me just look at my cheat sheet here. Oh, here we go. And what a student wants is an interest in food. So we've got students that are really interested in making food, producing food. We also have students that are just interested in being part of feeding us. So they're really interested in how food is produced, making sure we're eating good food. So in that way, they have that sort of broader interest in, I really want to be part of feeding ourselves, because that's a very important thing that we do. And so looking at employment opportunities for food technology, one thing I want to say is that food manufacturing is exciting. So it's very fast-paced. There's a daily deadline. So students come into these plants, and there's many things that they can do in these plants. But when they first graduate, probably be going into the quality and food safety program. So quality technician, becoming a quality manager or food safety coordinator. But if you're really enjoying operations, so actual producing food on the production floor, we have students that become supervisors, shift supervisors, production managers, operations managers. So there is that opportunity open to them. We also have students that are maybe a little more creative and actually want to be in product development. So they're developing new foods for a company. And companies will often develop new foods as part of expanding their business. So our students can be part of that. So product development technician, product development manager, and then once our students have some experience, they can go into regulatory. And these days you do need a degree for that. And just to comment on that, we have students with degrees in areas like food science, like actually come to BCIT to get that hands-on practical experience that they don't get at a university. So those students that have a degree, they can go into regulatory and work for the Canadian Food Inspection Agency or Health Canada. So there's lots of opportunities, and I have to say, I've worked in the food industry for a long time now, and I just find it exciting to be part of that. So we have a graduate coming to speak with us. Xenia Chu is coming to speak with us right now on food technology.
Thank you, Rebecca. So hi, my name is Xenia, and I am a graduate of food technology program from 2014. After graduation, I started off as a quality assurance technician. I was in this position for about 3 years, and then I had the opportunity to take on the role of quality assurance supervisor. And my job involved, I tend to describe my job as the food police of the manufacturing plant that I worked in, because I was responsible for making sure that the products we produced are safe, as well as having good quality. So we would take samples from off the line. We would do tests such as anything from quality tests like moisture tests, shelf life tests, and any other characteristics such as viscosity, and then also on the micro side, we would send it in for product testing, testing for different types of bacteria or pathogens that would make people sick. And yeah, so in terms of quality assurance, I find it really interesting because I like that feeling that the products that we produce are safe and wholesome. And because what inspired me was I heard about a story where there was this inspector. She became an inspector because when she was pregnant, she ate a food that was contaminated with listeria, and that actually caused her to lose her baby. So that kind of reminded us the importance of producing food that's safe, because when you go into supermarkets and when you grab food off the shelf, you expect it to be safe and good for the whole family, rather than having to worry about if there's bacteria, if that will cause you like illness. So I feel that this job is really important. So after moving on, I recently joined the Canadian Food Inspection Agency under the Government of Canada. And this is also food police, but on a bigger scale. Whereas before I was in just one manufacturing plant, but now I kind of move from different plants. Right now I inspect 2 ready-to-eat facilities, as well as 2 cold storages. So I inspect the products coming into Canada, so the imports from all over the world, from Spain, from Hong Kong, from New Zealand, make sure that everything, all the products coming in are safe and meets all the requirements before I release them, and that gets distributed to the final customer. And I also look after the exports going out of Canada, make sure that whatever we produced also meets Canadian regulations, as well as the importing countries' regulations, before signing off that paper and having that product gets distributed. And so in terms of the program, the food technology program, I see it as a career sampler, because probably like most of you, when you enter the food industry, you don't know where your direction will take you. You don't know what options are out there. I was the same way, because the number one question I have when people hear that I'm I took the technology program is, do you guys cook? I don't know if any of you have gotten that, but do you cook? I said, no, we don't cook, but we learn the technical background or the science behind cooking. For example, we bake bread. Usually when you bake bread, you follow a recipe. But what we learned in food tech was what helps you to bake bread, what causes that expansion that becomes the bread or the texture of the bread. If you're interested in food, you love food, you love to learn how it works, then I would say food technology is the program for you. And in the program, you learn so much about the different, you take a lot of courses, you take like microbiology, chemistry, food analysis, quality control, statistics as well. And each one of the courses, after entering the food industry, I felt that every course actually helped prepare me to take on my roles, because in each position, you need a little bit of everything. You need to know that some of the microbiology background, you need to know the food safety program background, you just need to know the basic knowledge and the skills to prepare you for that role. And I feel that the technology program has really done well. In terms of my personal experience, I really, really enjoyed food tech. Like what Erin mentioned, the small class size. My batch was about 16 people. So we were a really, really close group. We were close with each other. We were close with all the instructors. So for me, I felt like I was just going to hang out with friends rather than going to be school where it's boring. It's definitely not. So I was with my friends. We were doing a lot of hands-on things. We were doing labs. And the instructor really did a great job keeping materials really fun, really engaging. And I loved listening to all the stories they shared when they worked in the industry. That really also gave us an idea of what it would be like to be working in the real food industry. And lastly, if you ask me what skills would you need to be successful, I would say, well, out of many skills, I would say the number one thing is time management, because the BCIT programs, they are fun, intense, but fun. And there were times where we were facing many deadlines at the same time. We had a chemistry lab report that was due. We had an exam in one class. We had a quiz in the other one. We had lab reports, presentations. So you could be facing 5 or 6 different deadlines at the same time. So you really need to be determined for number one, and then also to manage your time to make sure that you finish your assignments and then you prepare for the exams as well. So, but overall, I really did enjoy it, and I would recommend it if you are interested in working in the food industry. So I would say that food technology is a great place to start. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Martin McLeod, and I'm the program head for the Environmental Health Program at BCIT. So you're probably asking, what is environmental health? Because not many people know what that actually is. We're training our students to become public health inspectors. And so our students will go out when they graduate, and they will be in every community in Canada. And they are working behind the scenes to make sure that they prevent the spread of disease and sickness in a community. So this job is all about public health. It's about keeping communities safe, keeping people out of hospitals. And so we are training people to be public health inspectors. They will be food inspectors. They will inspect restaurants, grocery stores, etc. They will inspect drinking water supplies. So every community in Canada has clean drinking water, and there is a public health inspector who is inspecting that, including Vancouver. We inspect public swimming facilities, such as you see, not in this picture, but the next one. We inspect public swimming facilities, we inspect tattoo parlors. There is a wide variety of places in the community that the public health inspector is. If you have a science background or a biology background and you'd love to put it to use, this is a practical way to use your science and to actually help people. I have a prize for anyone that can actually identify what swimming pool that is. Does anyone recognize it? It's a tough one. No? Okay. Anyone been to Burnaby Central Park? It's the swimming pool, it's the outdoor pool at Central Park. Bet you didn't know there was one there. This is one of our students doing inspection of the swimming pool. This is something we would do in the summer. If you like being out of the office and driving around the community in your car, meeting people out and about all day, and then also having some office time, this is the job for you. All right. So, program overview. We offer a bachelor degree at the end of our program. We are a 2-year program. And we take students, actually I'll talk about that a little bit later. We have small class sizes like most programs in BCIT, and that means that you get to know your instructors. And most of your instructors, many of them, are actually environmental health professionals who have come back to teach at BCIT, and many of us are graduates of this program. We have a combination of lectures and field trips. We do a research project in the second year that is some kind of a public health research project. And when you are finished your second year, you will be sent out on a 3-month practical experience. We will find a placement for you. You don't have to look yourself. You will do this practicum at a BC Health Authority, and there you will actually put to practice what you've learned in this program. It is a final course that you have to pass in order to graduate with your bachelor degree. So how do I get in? You will need a minimum of 2 years of post-secondary work before you get into our program, and then we give you 2 more years, which gives you the 4 years for a bachelor degree. You need these qualifications that you require. There's some mandatory courses, and these are also on our website. There are a few courses you must have. You must be proficient in English. You will need a first-year biology course, a first-year chemistry, a few additional credits of science, but other than that, you don't have to have a science background. And then you need some second-year level or higher courses as well. Driver's license. You do have to have a valid driver's license because in your second year, when you go out on your practicum, you will be expected to do some driving. And so a driver's license is a must. And finally, good communication skills are essential. You will be interacting with people all day long, some of it not so friendly, some of it okay, but you will need strong communication skills to do this job and to be successful in this job. What kind of employment opportunities do our grads get? Many of them will work for various levels of government as environmental health officers. And when you graduate from this course, you will then take a national certification exam, a Canadian exam, and this will then qualify you to work as an environmental health officer. And you will be qualified to work anywhere in Canada. And so you could work for the provincial health authorities or health departments. You can work for federal agencies such as CFIA, Health Canada, or First Nations health authorities across Canada. And you could also work in private industry, and more of our grads are finding work now in the private industry. So you could work for food processors, grocery restaurant chains, and often what we do is we get food technology graduates from the previous program come into our program after they finish that one, and then they go on and get the degree with us, and then they work for CFIA, for example, as a food specialist. Some of our grads work for private consulting firms, environmental consultants, food consultants, third-party food auditors, and health promotion education specialists. This is sort of a new area that we're moving into. Some other emerging areas, climate change specialists. That's a brand new job that didn't exist before. Our grads are trained to do that kind of work. We've had some grads work for cruise ship lines. That might be an interesting experience as health officers. Oh, sorry. I believe that there was one I wanted to address, which is, yeah, one more thing back to the slide. What would be our ideal candidate? The ideal candidate who will do well in the program and will be successfully employed is going to be a strong communicator, and ideally you should come into the program with some work experience. We find that very helpful. Preferably even in the food industry. Even if you've worked at McDonald's for a while, that's excellent experience for this program. You need to care. You need to care about public health, have a passion for public health, and be a self-starter. You need initiative to do this program. So I would now like to introduce one of our graduates who's currently an environmental health officer for Vancouver Coastal Health, David Hugh.
Hi there, my name is David Hugh. I'm an environmental health officer with Vancouver Coastal Health. I'm a graduate of the BCIT program from 2011. My journey to BCIT is that of an interesting one. Getting out of high school, I did not know what to do. I was really good at science, so I went and got my science degree in biology. I had no idea what to do with it. So luckily I had my girlfriend at the time. She said, well, why don't you go to BCIT? And that's where people who actually get education, where you can actually find a job, much like you here. So I looked at the BCIT website and found environmental health. I looked at it and was actually really interested in it. I didn't want to be stuck in a lab. I did not want to, be doing research. I wanted to be out and about talking to people while using my education to benefit other people. So I applied to the program. I went out, and the best thing I did was I talked to an environmental health officer in the field and asked them what the job was like. Now, going into BCIT was a lot different than going to university. University, I learned about inorganic chemistry, calculus, a lot of education courses which were not useful to me whatsoever out in the field. At BCIT, there was much smaller class sizes. I think our graduating class was that of about 26 people, and that was then yet again divided into cohorts, I believe, of 13. Those people today are still friends that I see on a regular basis, and they're also coworkers, which I reach out to all the time for advice and also possible job opportunities. At BCIT, not only were the programs dedicated, they provided me with the knowledge that I use every single day to help me do my job and connect with my operators. Now, BCIT does one great thing, and that's what Martin touched on, was they provide a practicum at the end of the two-year program. That practicum not only was a good opportunity to get a feel of what it is being an environmental health officer, but it's also a 3-month interview process. So once I graduated from BCIT, I had a practicum up north with Northern Health. I enjoyed my time up there. I had a great, diverse practicum, but they also wanted to keep me on for a few months afterwards. That being said, though, no one, or at least my family, lived down here in Vancouver. I could not stay up there, so I had to leave. But luckily, again, BCIT came through for me, and they actually got the students to go to an international health conference where I was able to rub shoulders and network with a lot of industry professionals. And some people there were the upper management from Vancouver Coastal Health. Heeding the advice from my professors, I went and I talked to them. They got to know me, and I was able to snag an interview. And now I've been with Vancouver Coastal Health for about 7 years now, working as an environmental health officer. Now, Martin touched base on what makes a good environmental health officer, and one of the things that cannot be stressed enough is work experience. So one thing that I had that really benefited me through my career path was a variety of jobs. I've worked in the food industry. I also have education and background as an ice facility operator. I've also worked on a farm as well. One of the hardest things to do as an environmental health officer is to walk in someone's personal place of business, being there to protect public health, and tell them what to do and make them want to do it without confrontation. So by utilizing my different background skills and BCIT knowledge that I gained through the courses, I found that I was able to coerce and work together with my operators in order to get the job done. Things I wish I would have known before starting this program, and any advice I give to you, is if you have a background in science but you have no idea what to do with it, Look at environmental health. If you do not want to be stuck in a lab by yourself, not talking to anyone, environmental health is great. My day starts off with me being in the office with my coworkers for about 2-3 hours of the day. Then I have the freedom to design my day, go out and inspect within my jurisdictional area. So my experience within that, I actually inspect majority of Vancouver. I've also inspected down in Richmond. And up north, when I was working up north, I had Terrace, Kitimat, and a bit of Prince Rupert. If I feel like not wanting to inspect a restaurant, I'll go do some pools. If I don't want to inspect pools, I'll go inspect a tattoo parlor. On top of that too, if you think that's a little boring, every now and then we'll have an outbreak at a care facility. So we'll be able to go work with the operators and the nurses at that care facility and help manage the disease outbreak, implementing disease prevention protocol. It's a variety of work, and I can't stress it enough. If you do not want to be locked down doing the same thing day in and day out, I can guarantee you, being an environmental health officer, you'll learn something new every single day, and it will always be exciting. And not only that, but whenever you're at a party, the first thing people say is, "Where should I eat?" And you'll always have something to say. Anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, everybody. I know it's a little bit late, and so I'm from Program Advising. My name is Suki. That's my colleague, Jessie. And there's a group of us that help with full-time programs. We're usually most students' first touch point when they're researching BCIT and they're thinking about coming here. We do have a group of us that help with full-time programs, and then there's also a group that help with part-time studies. So some of our programs, like Occupational Health and Safety, is offered as a certificate in part-time. So that's where one of our colleagues would be able to assist you with part-time studies as well. So we can help with BCIT Life. Really good to hear from these guys, the graduates of the programs, because they will tell you firsthand how their experience was. We can also relate our experiences. Some of us are grads of BCIT as well. If you want to know about entrance requirements, how to upgrade, if you never took chemistry or physics in high school and now you need it for your program, if you're transferring from another institution, anything basically you want to know about getting started with BCIT, you can always come in and chat with us. We'll give you some of our information in just a little bit. So the application process at BCIT, you do have to select a program, a single program. So you're not applying to BCIT, you're applying to food technology, occupational health and safety, environmental health. So that makes it a little bit different than other institutions. You have to review the specific requirements for that program because they will always differ from program to program. Some will be available to you where you meet the requirements and you're accepted on a first come, first served basis. Any of those programs, if you are ready to apply, you want to do that as soon as possible, close to the application intake date, which is usually November. So about a year in advance, almost a year in advance. If it is a competitive program, you want to ensure that you exceed all the requirements and then apply. You have to provide proof of meeting all the requirements by the deadline. If it is a competitive program, proof has to be provided if it is a first come, first served program right away along with your application. So you want to be mindful of that. So transcripts, any sort of self-assessment form, a questionnaire, all that has to be submitted with all your online application. So you convert everything to a PDF and you pop it online and away you go. So usually you will hear back. Your initial email will be within about 4 weeks from admissions, and that's your point of contact from there on in, just if you have any questions about your specific application. But you can always reach out to us as well if you do have any specific questions. So departments, if it's again a competitive program, they'll start shortlisting or reviewing the applications once they do start coming in, and then they'll make their selections after the deadline date. And then you'll be informed. So if a student is not going to be able to get into a program or does get a spot in the program, they'll be informed after that deadline date. So it can be a bit of a waiting game, so you want to be mindful of that as well. So we do have tons of services. Some of you might have seen the video prior to the presentation starting. So program advising, we're definitely available to help you out anytime. Financial aid and awards, if you are looking for funding, there isn't a lot of time that you have available. So we honestly don't recommend working or doing anything else while you're attending school. If you're able to manage your time and hold down a job, fantastic. But if not, there's loans, there's awards, bursaries, scholarships. Definitely talk to Financial Aid and Awards. They have a lot of information on how you can apply, when you can apply, and what you might be eligible for.
Accessibility services can help if you do need a little bit more extra time on exams, or if there's any service that you think might be suitable to you. Once you have been accepted into a program, do reach out and they can try to help you and work with your program area to see if they can accommodate. Our library has tons of services, and they do have an APOD which is open 24 hours a day. There's meeting rooms there's computers, everything software-wise is available to you as well. So if you want to study at 2 in the morning or start studying at 6 a.m., you're more than welcome to go in there. There's peer tutoring services available. Again, just time management, so making the time to be able to go get that help. These are usually second-year students, so great way to kind of network and ask them questions maybe about how their first year was, maybe if they were able to find a job in the summer or anything like that, but also to get help with your actual classes for the program. Student employment services, we do have our student association, and they're fantastic. They're able to help you with your interview tips, with working on your resume. They will invite industry as well, so you can network and connect with people. So that's available to you. Our health services, we have doctors, people get sick, stuff happens. We do have physiotherapists. We also have counselors on campus. So if you're struggling, if you have any, if you need help, you want to chat with somebody, their services are available for you as well. Recreation services, so we have lots of different fitness classes. There's dance classes. There's a full gym with lots of great equipment. It's a great way to kind of get away from the books for a bit. If you are studying and you're just exhausted and you need a bit of a break, really great facility to go to. It also does help you connect with other people. So if you're in the food tech program, you might never meet somebody in the occupational health and safety program or in the environmental health program, but that might be a way if you're involved in fitness or if you join some of our intramural sports, then that way you can meet with people and connect with people in other areas. Our student association I mentioned, so they provide lots of services. They will advocate for you if you're having any issues. They are actually comprised of students like yourself. So if you want to run for president, treasurer, get involved, make some changes. If you have ideas about different events to bring to the campus, that would be a great group to get involved in as well. And we do have some clubs. We have an Actors Club. It's an entrepreneurial group. And then we also have Toastmasters, amongst others. You will do lots of presentations at BCIT for the most part. So that's a great way to kind of practice and prep. So those are the different services you can take advantage of. So usually when students do come in and chat with us or they'll connect with us, we do recommend coming to an information session. So this is one of the best things you can do. You can meet with faculty, you can hear student experiences firsthand, ask questions and all of that. We do also have a spend a day option where you can basically get buddied up with a student from second year of a program and you'll go to class and lecture with them. So that's a fantastic opportunity to really get your feet wet in the program prior to applying, and you can try multiple programs that way as well. Student blogs, so students will basically write about their experiences. So spring break's coming up, so they might be a little bit excited, or if they have exams or tons of things going on and they have practicum. So they will write about what's happening on a daily basis in their life, and they'll blog about it at basically weekly or something along those lines and keep you posted on how their experience at BCIT has been. We have lots of videos on YouTube. This actually session will be posted there as well, maybe in a week or two. And you will actually get a survey as well about the information session. So if you do want to check out other programs, check out some videos on YouTube about any of the different areas that we offer programs in. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Flickr as well. And then with program advising, so you could go to the advising page. It's just bcit.ca/advising. You can take a picture. These are all the ways that you can connect with us if you do have any questions. So we offer services over the phone Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. 8:30 to noon. We also are available via email, program_advising@bcit.ca. And then we do drop-in sessions on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, 1:30 to 3:30, as well as Wednesday mornings, 9:30 to 11:30. So lots of ways to get in touch with us if you have any questions at all or if you want to confirm anything. We'll do our best to help you out, provide as much information, and if need be, we can connect with faculty in other areas as well on your behalf. So that's it for myself. I'm going to pass it back to Erin to wrap it up.
All right, I hope we inspired you and didn't confuse you with the options, because I know all three are very exciting programs. I'm happy to be involved in all of them, and I find myself learning every day with these different program areas. What we have now is, I know you guys might have questions about the different program areas, or you might have questions about whether or not I have the grades to get in, does this count for that? So what we have next door is we have program advising has a table, and then each of the program areas will also have a table, and I think some of them have even set up demonstrations so you can get an idea of what type of stuff they do in their classes and their labs. If you're interested in following, we have an Instagram account for School of Health Sciences, and they're often posting various activities that are happening on campus. And then if you're interested in food technology, they're the first of the 3 programs who have their own Instagram account. So they're posting pictures of the labs that are going on at various times. For example, this week they did ice cream lab, so they were showing pictures of their ice cream, which they forgot to mention that eating food is part of the food technology program. Good selling feature. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to move over to Town Square, which will have, if you don't mind me running up to the top, I'll lead you guys there. And just one more announcement, if you guys aren't sure about these program areas, February 20th is Big Info Night. So Big Info is where all of the different schools and all the different programs at BCIT have a table set up, and you can wander from program area to program area and ask questions to all the different programs. So once again, that's February 20th, and it starts, I believe, at about 4:30. So I see Julie's actually at the back. So Julie from marketing, I'll be there, and Julie will also be there. So if you have questions about other programs, we can answer those. Julie will lead the way to Town Square, and then we'll have all the speakers also move over there. Thank you for coming.